Hello everyone. So this video is regarding the modern sewage treatment plant. Now this is a schematic diagram for understanding purpose, but this is not actually how the sewage treatment plant is going to look when you see it, but this will make everything easier for understanding purpose. Hope you like it. So let's try to understand why we need to treat the sewage. So the sewage is actually 99.99% of water with other constituent like organic matter and inorganic matter. Now the problem is this sewage has a lot of biological oxygen demand, and if we spill this directly into river, the plants and animal will be harmed to a great extent. So what this sewage treatment plant do is it reduces the organic substances plus the biological oxygen demand to a minimal level, okay, that is required, and then we spill it into river, and this provides a safe disposal method for our sewage. So let's start by understanding how this sewage treatment plant is going to work. So the first thing where the sewage passes is a bar screen. Now this screen consists of pairs of iron rod, generally in a pair of 5. These are the iron rods, okay, and the sewage passes through it. Now as the sewage is passing through it, the large floating objects like the wood, metals, and other animal products that are large, okay, that are filtered, and they do not pass through this screen, okay, they will remain behind, and then the sewage passes into the next place that is known as the grit chamber or the detritus chamber. Now this is like a narrow canal, okay, that is around 10 to 20 meter, and the flow velocity here is 1 foot per second. The detention time for which the sewage is going to stay is around 30 seconds to 1 minute. Now, what actually happens during this detention period is the sewage, the solids that are large in size, will settle down in the floor of this grit chamber. Okay, and these solids that settle down are known as grit, and they are collected. Okay, this grit is collected and they are disposed by either dumping or trenching, which we have already discussed. So further, the sewage from the grit chamber that consists now more of the fluid part, okay, the solids are already disposed of. This fluid is also known as effluent, is going to enter into primary sedimentation tank. Now this primary sedimentation tank is a large rectangular tank most of the times, okay, less often they are circular or square, more often they are rectangular. Now here the effluent is going to stay for 6 to 8 hours, okay, that is a huge time, and it has a flow velocity of 1 to 2 feet per minute. And here is what means it is like a core of a factory, okay, where many of the things are going to happen. So as the effluent enters this tank, the and stays here for 6 to 8 hours, the three major things are going to happen. The first is the sludge formation, the second is breaking down of complex organic compound, and the third is the scum formation. So actually this effluent was containing a lot of organic matter already, okay. As this effluent is going to stay here for a long hours, this organic matter is going to settle down in the floor, and this is what is going to form the sludge. Plus also this effluent will contain the coliform bacteria that are already present in our feces, okay, and these will break down the complex organic compound into simpler substances and ammonia. The third thing is the fat and grease that is present in this effluent is going to float above, okay, and form scum. So these are the three main things that are going to happen in a primary sedimentation tank. Not only this, this is important because this sedimentation in the tank will reduce the solids by 50 to 70%, and the coliform bacteria will reduce by 30 to 40%. And what we actually studied is known as the primary treatment, okay. The sewage treatment plant has two steps: the primary treatment and the secondary treatment. These three parts, the screen, the grit chamber, and the primary sedimentation tank, constitute the primary treatment. What actually happens with this sludge is it is removed mechanically, so as so that there is no disturbance in the flow of the effluent within this tank. The sludge is removed and sent into a sludge digester. Now this sludge digester is used to digest the sludge, and within 3 to 4 weeks the sludge forms an excellent manure for our soil. Plus there is a byproduct, that is methane gas, that is used for heating and lighting purposes. So there is no waste. The sludge is also used in an excellent way. Okay, but still this effluent, okay, that is formed in this primary sedimentation tank, though we are happy we have got sludge that is useful and everything, but still this effluent is going to contain a lot of organic matter and bacterias. Okay, and this is most of this effluent is liquid. Now solids we have settled them down. Okay, so this liquid part is going to contain these impurities, that is organic compound and organic matter and the bacterias, in the form of colloids or the suspension. Now we have two ways how we are going to treat this effluent. Okay, so there are two different ways. In many places we follow the trickling filter method, and in many places there is, this is the modern one, that is activated sludge process. So any one of them is used, and after that the effluent is sent into a secondary sedimentation tank. Okay, so we'll try to understand what is benefit of each of them and where one which can be used. So let's try to understand first the trickling filter method. So if we send the effluent from the primary sedimentation tank into the trickling filter method, okay, so try to imagine a large stadium like thing, okay, that is around 2 to 30 meter in the radius, and less in depth, that is 1 to 2 meter. Okay, so as you are seeing in this image, this is like a large ground. Okay, and there is a pipeline that comes, okay, carrying the effluent, and this pipeline emerges out from the ground. Okay, and then there are horizontal pipelines that have holes in them, and while this horizontal pipeline rotates, it sprinkles the effluent into our atmosphere. Okay, it sprinkles the effluent into our atmosphere. So while this effluent is being sprinkled into the atmosphere, it is acted also by the atmospheric air, where little bit of its oxidation occurs. Plus this is not only that, this ground consists of okay, stones or prickles that are spreaded over all of this ground. Now this effluent is going to fall evenly over this ground. Okay, and then this effluent is going to percolate through these stones and go deeper. Okay, and what is there between this stone, we have a special layer, that is zooglare layer. Okay, this zooglare layer is formed by the algae, fungus, protozoa, bacteria, everything you can think of. And this zooglare layer is what is very important, because this zooglare layer, okay, it is the primitive form of life, you can say, that consists of algae, fungus, protozoa, bacteria. This is going, as the effluent is percolating, it will also pass through zooglare layer. This zooglare layer is present all over the stones and over the surface a bit. So as the effluent passes through this zooglare layer, this zooglare layer oxidizes all the percolating effluent. Okay, so all the organic matter that is left in this effluent is going to oxidize by this zooglare layer plus the atmospheric air. And now the effluent that we are going to get will be less harmless, containing will have less biological oxygen demand. And then this effluent is okay. Plus one more thing is that this zooglare layer lives, grows and dies. Okay, it is its life cycle, and it forms humus, and this humus is great also for our soil. Now this humus appears green, and it flows along with this effluent into our secondary sedimentation tank. Before studying secondary sedimentation tank, let's try to understand another method through which we can send the effluent. Now this is a modern method and more preferred in our urban cities where we have less space. You will understand why I am saying this. So as the effluent, again from the primary treatment, okay, from the primary sedimentation tank, enters into this activated aeration tank. Okay, this is known as aeration tank. This is also, this process, the second process, is named as activated sludge process. So as the effluent enters here, we also add the effluent with an activated sludge. let's be with this. Okay, we will understand what actually activated sludge is in secondary sedimentation tank. So here we need to know that activated sludge is the one that is going to have a lot of aerobic bacteria that are going to be useful to us. Okay, so we mix in the activated sludge process, we mix the effluent that is coming from primary sedimentation tank with activated sludge that is rich in aerobic bacteria. And here the effluent plus activated sludge is going to stay here for 6 to 8 hours, but not just it stays here. We have turbines like structure, okay, that are going to aerate the air inside this box, that is aeration tank. And either we will have turbines that are going to rotate and provide the air inside this tank, or we are going to have pressure pumps that are going to supply the aeration. Okay, but somehow we have to maintain the aeration for 6 to 8 hours. And during this 6 to 8 hour where we are mixing our effluent with the activated sludge, okay, that contains aerobic bacteria, and these bacteria will oxidize all the organic matter that is left over in our effluent, and this will result in byproduct that are CO2, nitrate and water. Okay, again we have lost all the organic matter and the biological oxygen demand is reduced. Now this is superior than the trickling filter method, okay, because it requires less space. As we already were trying to understand how big this uh, trickling filter method uses, like a ground, okay, around 2 to 30 meter in the radius and 1 to 2 meter in depth. But this activated sludge process uses an aeration tank that is smaller in size. But the problem with this activated sludge process is it is a bit expensive, so it is preferred in urban areas where space is less but more money. But trickling filter method is used in rural areas because there we have space, okay, and if there is less, it is cheaper. So after we have sent the effluent from primary sedimentation tank into either of these tanks, the first step of secondary treatment is completed. Now we have an efficient effluent that has a less BOD, and this less BOD effluent is sent into a secondary sedimentation tank. Okay, now in this secondary sedimentation tank, this effluent that has very less BOD, okay, is stays here for 2 to 3 hours. While this stays here for 2 to 3 hours, again the leftover sludge, okay, now this sludge that we are getting has a lot of phosphates and aerobic bacterias, calciums and other minerals, and this is known as what is aerated or the activated sludge. And this is what we were studying in the activated sludge process. Okay, this is the sludge that is sent back to the sludge digester, okay, here, and this is the sludge that is again sent into activated sludge process for mixing with the effluent, because this consists a lot, it is rich in the aerobic bacteria. So we have again treated the sludge. Okay, so now we have two things which are left to be treated. The first one is sludge that is again being used. The first use is it is again being sent to activated sludge process. Other uses are it is being used to go to sludge digester, where we have already studied it is used as manure and methane gas. Okay, but we need to understand that this sludge digestion will occur only in an appropriate temperature and pH, where we incubate it for 3 to 4 weeks. Other ways of sludge disposal are sea disposal and land disposal. But sludge digester is a far better way of treatment of sludge. So the next final thing that we are left to be treating is the effluent part that has a low BOD now. Okay, so this effluent that has a low BOD need to satisfy some criteria before we spill it into the river directly. Okay, so the criterias are these three. The first one is we need to chlorinate this effluent, means a efficient chlorination needs to take place so that the bacterial count is very low. The second thing is the 5 days biological oxygen demand should not exceed more than 20 milligram per liter. And the third thing is the suspended solid should not be more than 30 milligram per liter. And if we follow these criteria, it will provide a dilution of 8 is to 1 dilution in our river while we spill this. Okay, and this method is what is known as disposal by dilution. Now what actually is happening, because industries are using a lot of chemicals, uh, this following these criteria also and then spilling it into the river, the chemicals are not being treated by this sewage treatment plant, and still there is a lot of harm to our uh, aquatic life. In many countries they have reduced the 5 days BOT to around 10 milligram per liter. That is a great step, and we are looking forward to make a method of the tertiary treatment for further refining of this effluent. So in a nutshell, we will try to revise what we have studied. So the first thing is the sewage passes through the screen, okay, then the grit chamber, where the grit is collected, and the primary sedimentation tank, where there is formation of sludge, scum, and the breakdown of complex organic compound. These three processes, the bar screen, the grit chamber, and the primary sedimentation tank, constitute our primary treatment in the sewage treatment plant. The secondary treatment can either start with treatment in the trickling filter tank or the activated sludge process. Okay, both of these reduce the BOD of an effluent and send it to the secondary sedimentation tank. In secondary sedimentation tank, we have formation of an activated or aerated sludge, and this is sent back to the activated sludge process for its use, or into the sludge digester for other uses like manure and methane. The other ways of disposal are sea and land. The final thing we are left with is an treatment, the disposal of an effluent that is left. Okay, and it should satisfy the criteria of 5 days BOD less than 20, chlorination, and not more than 30 milligram per liter of our solids. And this will provide a dilution of 8 is to 1, and this is what is known as disposal by dilution. The last thing we need to remember is the aeration tank, or the aeration is heart of activated sludge process. So this is the sewage treatment plant in a nutshell. So if you like that, like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.